Just beyond the bustling suburbs of Chicago lies a patch of land where silence lingers almost as if it's a warning. A forgotten graveyard swallowed by woods and haunted by decades of supernatural sightings. This is Bachelor's Grove Cemetery, and some say it's one of the most haunted places in America. Tucked deep within the woods of Midlothian, Illinois, down an overgrown trail that most people pass without ever noticing, lies one of America's most haunted graveyards, Bachelor's Grove Cemetery. But before it was a place of legend, it was simply a place of eternal rest. The cemetery dates back to the early 1800s. It's believed that the first burials happened around 1834, when the area was settled by immigrants, mostly of English, Irish, and German descent. The land was rural, quiet, and isolated, a peaceful place for early settlers to lay their loved ones to rest. It was never large, maybe 82 plots in total, but for a while it served the small farming community around it, a simple pioneer burial ground. Then came the decline. By the early 1900s, the area around Bachelor's Grove began to change. The farms dried up, families moved on, and the cemetery, once maintained by those who'd buried their kin there, began to fall into neglect. Over the decades, it became overgrown, forgotten, and eventually a target for vandalism. Headstones were smashed, graves desecrated. Some were even stolen. One small pond near the cemetery was rumored to be used as a mob dumping ground during Prohibition. Likely a false narrative, yet whispers of bones surfacing only added to the unease. By the 1960s and 70s, the cemetery had transformed into something else entirely, not just a burial site, but a magnet for paranormal activity. Strange lights, apparitions, phantom voices, and sightings that made even skeptics reconsider what they thought they knew. Today, Bachelor's Grove is closed to burials. The trail is gated, though it can still be accessed on foot. It's no longer just a cemetery. It's a portal of stories, some documented, others whispered. And every crooked gravestone seems to hide a secret just beneath the moss. Bachelor's Grove isn't just haunted because of what people say they've seen. It's haunted because of what's been forgotten, and what still refuses to rest. One of the most iconic legends is the ghost car. Described as a black 1940s Ford or Chevy sedan, it appears without warning, headlights on, engine humming. It will tail hikers near the Rubio Woods Trail, just outside the cemetery. But when they turn to look, nothing. No car, no sound, no tracks. In the mid-1990s, a Cook County Forest Preserve officer was patrolling the woods near the cemetery, a place already notorious for strange activity, when he encountered something that defied logic.
I was on patrol just after dusk, driving along the trail near the cemetery when I saw headlights behind me. I thought it was another car, maybe a teenager messing around or another officer. I slowed down to let them catch up, but the lights suddenly veered off the trail straight into the woods.
But that was the first impossibility. There's no road there, just thick trees and underbrush. He stopped his vehicle, shined a spotlight into the trees, expecting to see a crash or at least fresh tire tracks. But there was nothing.
I got out. There was no sound, no vehicle, no broken branches, no lights anymore. The car, if that's what it was, had completely vanished. I was trained to investigate things rationally, but there was no explanation for what I saw.
This isn't the only report like it. The phantom car of Bachelor's Grove has been seen many times, always described as an old-fashioned black sedan, like something from the 1940s or early 50s. Sometimes it's idling silently on the path. Other times it appears to follow cars before fading, dissolving, or vanishing entirely into the woods. No engine, no driver, no explanation. Just one more mystery in a cemetery full of them. In some reports, the car seems to be following them, only to vanish when they turn around. They call her the White Lady, or sometimes the Madonna, a spectral figure said to haunt the tangled remains of the cemetery. She's not angry, she doesn't scream, but she appears with a sadness that chills even the most hardened skeptics. One summer evening in the late 1990s, a local photographer, Judith Fells, out exploring the grounds with a paranormal team, claimed to have captured her. She wasn't expecting much that day, just a few test shots with infrared film, set up beside the crumbling gravestones. But when the film was developed, there she was, a woman dressed in white, sitting quietly on a moss-covered headstone, her head slightly bowed, hands folded in her lap. You could see through her, yet her figure was sharp, almost solid, and no one, absolutely no one, had been sitting there when the photo was taken. But that wasn't the only sighting. Visitors have reported seeing her gliding silently among the graves, sometimes holding what looks like a glowing lantern, other times cradling an infant in her arms. They say she appears during full moons, often near a small sunken grave said to belong to a child. Some believe she's the spirit of a woman buried without her baby, a soul still searching, not for vengeance, but for something lost, something precious. Others say she's just a part of the folklore, a legend woven from grief and shadows. Not all ghosts in Bachelor's Grove walk on two legs. Some gallop. One of the cemetery's oldest and most chilling legends is the tale of a farmer and his horse, both said to haunt the murky waters of the nearby pond. The story goes back to the late 1800s or early 1900s, when a local farmer was using his horse and plow to clear the land near the cemetery. One day, for reasons no one truly knows, tragedy struck. Some say the farmer lost control. Others claim his horse was spooked by something unseen. But either way, both the farmer and the horse ended up being dragged into the pond, the heavy plow trapping them beneath the surface. They drowned, together, in silence. Since then, people have reported seeing a ghostly horse, still harnessed to an invisible plow, rising from the water, sometimes dragging the outline of a man behind it. One visitor in the early 1970s claimed she was standing near the water's edge when the pond suddenly began to ripple, though there was no wind.
I thought it was just a fish or turtle, but then I saw it, a shape rising from the water. It looked like the head of a horse, eyes wide, soaked, and behind it, something darker, like a man being pulled under.
She ran, and she never went back. Other accounts are quieter, the sound of hooves on soft earth when no animals are around, the brief vision of a plow sinking into fog near the waterline, or just the feeling that something heavy and sorrowful lingers by the edge of the pond. A farmer, a horse, bound in death as they were in life, still working the land, long after the world left them behind. Of all the strange reports tied to Bachelor's Grove Cemetery, phantom cars, ghostly figures, floating lights, perhaps the most bizarre is the house. Not a haunted house, a vanishing one. It's been seen by dozens of visitors, some alone, some in groups, and always under similar circumstances. A small white cottage sitting just off the path, faded blue shutters, a soft light glowing from within. It looks old, but warm, out of place, but oddly inviting. And then, just as you take a step toward it, it disappears. One well-known report comes from a woman who was hiking near the cemetery in the 1950s. She claims she saw the house through the trees, chimney smoking gently as if someone were home. She stepped off the trail to get a closer look. The air, she said, felt thick, heavy.
It looked so real. I could see lace curtains in the windows, a rocking chair on the porch. I remember thinking it didn't belong there, like it had been dropped in from a dream.
But when she got closer, maybe 20 feet away, it blinked out of existence. No sound, no crumbling, just gone. Other witnesses have reported the exact same thing. A small house, always in the same spot, always visible for just a few moments, and then gone. Some paranormal researchers believed it's a residual haunting, a memory of a structure that once stood there. Others think it's something stranger, a kind of time slip, or worse, a trap. Because many who've seen the house say it feels like it wants you to come inside, that if you got too close, you might never come out again. A home that isn't there, a welcome that may not be, just one more riddle in a graveyard full of ghosts and questions. Bachelor's Grove is more than just an abandoned burial ground. It's a place where layers of history, tragedy, and mystery overlap. Every shadow, every chill, and every whisper of wind might be someone, or something, or maybe nothing at all. It's a place that doesn't just feel haunted, it is haunted.